Here we go, aka Padders. Welcome to day 12 of the 31 Days of Dread. This is a big recording for me. This is what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for it to get blown away. And now, look, I took a little bit of a break. I'm talking to you Monday night, October 14th. I'm 2 days behind, that's right. So we're just going to roll out a bunch of releases in the next 2 days. But here's the cool thing. You ready for it? No, it's not the Werewolf movie. It's not the wrapping up of our Werewolf block. That's right, previous 31 Days of Dread episode, day 11, was Dog Soldiers. And no, it's not the Werewolf. The cool thing is that I'm talking to you right now from a Philadelphia full moon. It's go time, everyone. Let's hit that intro. Okay. Hey. The 31 Days of Dread is a grind, everyone. I had to slow down just a little. I was almost nearly, no joke, out of my mind last week. So much happening. My 9 to 5, there's just this giant project getting ramped up. It's Columbus Day. Happy Columbus Day, everyone. I went in. One of my bigger contracts is a somewhat government extension. Like third party government provider, we'll say, local government, not federal. And everyone's off. Everyone in corporate is off on Columbus Day, and me and one of my dudes, one of my co-workers, look. Brother in arms, okay? Cause we go at it pretty hard, meaning we get a lot done, and we decided to go in today. We were like, let's look. No one's going to be there. Let's just knock out what we have to. Let's get there. Him and I texted late Sunday. We decided on 7:30, which is a good 90 minutes when things will start on the normal work day. So it's 7:30, rock and roll. I get up at around 5:45. I get there early. I start working on my stuff. And he shows up and we start rocking and rolling. These are the things I love about just, being in a good flow state when it comes to just even like 9 to 5 work. And I don't get done until 2 p.m. Now, at this point, I like little sleep. I have anxiety on eBay shipping. I have anxiety on slowing down the 31 Days of Dread. I'm behind on Inktober. I just feel like I'm bleeding from every possible angle, and I'm not handling things. And part of this is because, I was socializing this weekend. It was much needed, but it was a little bit overdue. And I felt like I needed Sunday night by myself. I did not get that. And I just think it built up. So, I go to meet up with someone after the 9 to 5. And it's just more. And it was a little bit of a good brain dump for me anyway, because I knew I had to come back here to the AKAPAD's Audio Audacity podcast studio and start rocking and rolling and really focus on being productive. With all of that being said, I'm here. And I just feel like it was such a rough road to even sit down with everyone. Look, it's just about 9 o'clock at night. And I'm going to be publishing a recording into the morning. But look, I do love it. And discovering the Howling. This movie has always been on my list. It's somewhat of another bucket list movie. But the difference is that I just thought it was like a little bit of garbage. It's like, all right, Howling, the greatest werewolf movie ever. Not really, whatever, moving on. Now, the previous episode, the previous day 11, because we're in day 12 now. Dog Soldiers, look, that took me maybe 16 years to watch that movie. I was working at a comic shop when that movie started hitting our bootleg wall. And, Dad lived up to it, I gotta say. And it was somewhat of a high bar to see another werewolf mythology, or like a werewolf lore-driven story. The Howling is the best I've seen. It really is. That's what I mean about it. It's just blowing me away. It completely delivered on expectations. And, through just being a fan of the optics, like I somewhat knew of the look of this werewolf. Just from t-shirts. There might have been a soda action figure toy, which is kind of weird because the proportions of these werewolves, again, like Van Helsing, it's almost like a mix between these two. The Van Helsing werewolf, who at one time I said was the best, it looks like it's just amalgam between the Dog Soldiers werewolf and the Howling werewolf. Now, the coolest thing about the Howling werewolf is that it has these giant ears, and it's like gorilla size. It's just massive and awesome. You don't get a full scale of it because, again, movie from the 80s, low budget. You're not going to get that giant animatronic. Everything about this movie. Look, this movie was made in I just had to look it up because I really know. This movie was made in 1981. It's so much more impressive than that. I can't. Oh my God! It's directed by Joe Dante. It's based on the book. It has 5 or 6 other movies. Okay, like let's detail the Howling franchise because it is a franchise. Howling, the original, 1981. Howling 2. Your Sister is a Werewolf, 1985. Howling 3, The Marsupials, 1987. Howling 4, The Original Nightmare, 1988. Howling 5, The Rebirth, 1989. Howling 6, The Freaks, it's just like that title, 1991. The Howling, New Moon Rising, 1995. And here we go, because we got a reboot. I think I can watch this on Amazon Prime. I might just go on a Howling binge. I'm so excited about this movie. Most of the sequels should be on Amazon Prime. Howling Reborn 2011. That's just cool. So, as far as I understand, scanning Wikipedia, the Howling 2 is maybe the only one. That is somewhat of a direct sequel. They had input from the original writer of the novel for Howling 2. It's the only one connected to the original. Now, who's Joe Dante? Who the heck is our director? 1978, Piranha. Roger Corman has a walk-on cameo. He goes into a phone booth in this movie, paying homage to him. A lot of these Roger Corman and a lot of these Lloyd Kaufman guys pay homage to the individual that gave them their chance to pursue their passion. 1979, we have Rock and Roll High School. 1981, The Howling. Now, 1983, segment in the Twilight Zone movie, which I think now is just resonating more and more with me. It's a Good Life was that segment. And then here we go, 1984. He's friends with Steven Spielberg. Gremlins. 1985, Explorers. 1987. I remember watching this movie in the theater with my parents. We loved this movie, Inner Space. Then we have The Burbs. Underrated masterpiece there. I love The Burbs. 1990. Underrated awesome sequel, Gremlins 2, New Batch. 1993. Underrated John Goodman awesomeness, Matinee. 1998. DreamWorks coming into its own. New studio. Again, Spielberg connection. We have Small Soldiers. Now, I think Small Soldiers is getting a big resurgence if you just look at the eBay pricing for the action figures. And then we have 2003 Looney Tunes Back in Action. And I tried watching that maybe once or twice. Couldn't get through it. And, last movie, Burying the X. So instead of burying the axe or hatchet, it's burying 2014. He's no longer with us. The whole 2000. I'm not familiar with his other movies post Looney Tunes Back in Action. And music's good for this movie. The design work is great for this movie. Like I don't know what else to say. That if you're interested in pretty much a staple, like a staple of a idea, a staple of a monster, a staple of a approach, it is The Howling. Now, throughout this movie, I'm spoilers, but who cares? Because we don't care about spoilers here. This movie has a female news anchor as the protagonist. Well, damsel in distress, but she's really not. She has this experience because she's like undercover, and she has this like almost like a like post-traumatic stress syndrome. And she goes on to this cabin. She goes on this retreat. She's trying to figure out like why, this incident with this predator, real life predator, okay, is sticking with her because they used her as bait for this news story. And as I'm watching this movie, I'm like, why is she a news reporter? Like, what's the hook? I mean, like, she could have had any profession. Where is this going? And it's such a draw. Like the first 30, 35 minutes, you're drawn into just this woman's life and her, like, plea. And then we start getting some werewolf action. It starts to hit. I'm not going to get into, like all that. But at the end of the movie, we have an I am Iron Man moment. That's right. What launched the MCU, but not really. Iron Man 2 more or less launched the MCU. I would say Iron Man 2 and Age of Ultron launched the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But anyway, everyone will say Iron Man 1 launched it, so we'll just say that. But that moment, like in the theater, that moment just hit me. I'm like, holy crap, they're not doing alter egos with this. Very cool, makes a lot of sense. Let's go with this. So she has this whole moment. She gets bitten by the werewolf. Like, we kind of see nothing happen. Nighttime, really good werewolf action at the end, car chasing, all of that stuff. Everyone around her, werewolf. It's a complete werewolf family. It's an underground. Very cool stuff. And then she gets bitten, and you're like, oh, okay. But nothing happens. And then it just flashes forward a little bit. She's back on the news, and she's given this almost like spontaneous editorial. The the showrunner, her lead producer is flipping out, but he's like, stay on her. I don't know what she's doing, but just let her go. And then within this editorial, she just speaks of this underground society that they're hidden, and they have to come out. They have to become a part of the world. Almost, I'll say it, the end of Black Panther, like how he's like, Wakanda needs to come out of the shadows. She gives this speech. She gives this editorial, and then she turns into a werewolf on live television. That's your setup. Mind-blowing moment. This movie knew where it was going to be from the very beginning. We have a script by John Sayles. If you don't know John Sayles and Lone Star and Matthew McConaughey, go check it out. Eight Man Out, one of the best baseball movies ever made. If there's 3 baseball movies for you to watch, it's 8 Man Out by John Sayles, Field of Dreams, and The Natural. That's your American Pastime trilogy. But okay, look, she transforms, and then she gets shot. She gets shot as a werewolf on live television, and they cut the feed. Movie's over. Masterful. It really is. It's difficult. I'm not sure if anyone can beat The Howling. I'm interested in number 2, where number 2 goes. because a couple of years ago I explored the Phantasm movies, and I didn't realize that was such a solid movie to movie story. Very solid. And if this kind of has a little bit of that, you can put that into the Phantasm movie to movie block. I put Nightmare on Elm Street because I love the deconstruction of Freddy Krueger, and the later Friday the 13th movies where they kind of go into Jason being a like a demon from hell kind of, which is kind of cool. I don't know. The 80s seem to have an idea of actually doing these elongated, stretched out mythologies within the sequels. Halloween kind of never did it as well until later, but Halloween kind of has it too. But look, everyone, it's a pleasure. Go watch the Howling, soak it in, and look, it was made in 1981. Keep that in perspective as you're watching it, but it should not take you out of this movie because Joe Dante is one of the best filmmakers. One of the best. R.I.P. Joe Dante. We love you and thank you. 31 Days of Dread. Until day 13, guess what we're doing? We're doing Ty West. My boy. This dude, I love this guy. Blows me away every time. One of my favorites. House of the Devil. We're starting Satanic Occult block. House of the Devil, Rosemary's Baby. Next 2 days. Let's do this.